Okay, let's do episode 4 of Head to Head. Now, we're literally where we left off in episode 3, where Jerome found or searched for Jin's diary or journal or whatever you call it. And in that, he saw the Jin's love confession. Jin opened the door and see that Jerome is holding the book, got upset, yelled at him, saying that he should leave. Now at that point, Jerome invaded privacy, that I get, but also that is the breaking point of someone that doesn't even care that they're under punishment. Jin was ready to just give up and say, yeah, go tell your mom and my mom that I don't care about the punishment. I don't want to live with you anymore. After Jin said that, Jin took the book and was about to run away out of embarrassment, shy. I don't know the feeling because I'm not going through it, so it's a feeling. But Jerome hugged him and said, do you still have feelings for me? Side note, this sentence was actually said in their previous drama. If you look back, what was the drama? What was the previous drama that they did? They said that. Hold up, let me look it up. In Only Boo, he said those words, do you still have feelings for me or do you still like me? And it was Keen's character that said it, not C's character. It was Keen's character. Now in this drama, C's character said it. Anyways, Jin was definitely heartbroken. He started crying. He pushed Jerome. Jerome hurt his hand a little bit. I gotta admit, Jin, you sure have a pushing fetish or something. Every time you encounter Jerome, you always push him. I'm surprised his hands is still intact. So they got to sitting and they were supposed to talk about the situation, but it got an awkward silence. And Jin was like, I'm not sitting here and do nothing or say anything. It's best that you just tease me and make fun of me than just sitting there and saying nothing. Jin was about to get up and leave, but Jerome stopped him and told him to sit. Now, Jerome also said that he has nothing to say because he can't explain any of this. Jin even asked how he knew where his journal was, and Jerome himself can't even explain it because he can't tell him that, hey, I saw the future, I can see everything. He's not even telling him that. Jerome, how is it that you were so comfortable telling your friend Farm about the situation, but you didn't tell Jin? You didn't tell Farm exactly who you were dreaming about or whatever, but you did tell him the situation. How is it hard to tell Jin? I get it. You just found out that Jin likes you, but it's not like you didn't know from day one. It's just that you're just finding out that everything that you're going through in your dream is actually coming true. Again, it wasn't so hard to tell Jin. You could at least tell him that. The man just saw that you went through his journal and found out that he likes you. The least you can do is repay him by telling him something. And what's so shocking about it is that Jin never hated Jerome. He loved Jerome for 10 years. Can you imagine going around teasing your best friend, growing up with them, punching each other, cursing each other? The family knows that you guys hate each other, only to find out that you love this boy for 10 years. 10 years of one-sided love. How? What happens if Jerome were to have a relationship? How would you do? Well, then again, Jin and Farm is literally rowing in the same boat. So the only thing is Farm is just suffering more than you are. Okay, so Jin said that he doesn't want to stay around Jerome any longer, especially now that Jerome found out his feelings. The entire situation and living condition will be very awkward. So Jin offers to explain to his mother and Jerome's mother that, hey, this isn't working out, yada yada yada. But Jerome told Jin that he doesn't want that to happen and actually wants to live with Jin. He wants to spend more time with Jin. Now, that got Jin even upset because he feels like Jerome's just doing all this to make fun of him and tease him, knowing that he knows his feelings. But Jerome's saying nothing like that is going to happen. He just wants to stay with him. They can hate each other, they can make fun of each other, but he just wants to stay with Jin. Now, since Jerome convinced Jin to skip the hospital visits and go to search for a journal, Jin had to be the one to substitute and clean the wound, not fully clean it, but do something so it doesn't get infected. So tomorrow, Jerome has to go to the hospital to do both cleaning and check it. Honestly, looking at how Jin is treating Jerome, it's obvious that Jin really still likes Jerome even through all the chaos that happened. And even Jerome sees it. But let's just leave it as it is. Even Jin says that just pretend that nothing happened. You see in the book, nothing you saw, everything, just push it under the rug and let's not talk about it. And that is exactly what they made a deal on, not talking about it. Even though Jerome still wants to ask few questions, he has to literally go by what Jin said. That, and it's the only way that to stay in the house or the condo. I love how quickly their mood changed, even though clearly the tension is there, but they moved like that, back to like it never really happened. And we're at Van and Farm, and before you ask, no, Van is not going on a date. He's just preparing himself to get ready to go to a friend's birthday party, and he's asking options of what to wear from Farm. What to wear, how to wear it, perfumes, color, whatever. He's asking all that. After Van got dressed, this boy sat down beside Farm and had the audacity to say to Farm, don't start in a relationship, because if you do, I'll be jealous and I will feel like I'm left out and I don't want that to happen. And I'm like, Van, bitch, how did you think Farm felt when you were in all them relationships? After Van left though, Farm said to himself he will not do it, he will never do it because he can't find himself moving to a relationship. My friend, move to a relationship. Let him know what he lost when he had you, or you don't know what you lost until you had it. Whatever, let him know what he lost, because clearly this is a separation in itself. Both people love each other. One is teasing the other while one is holding on to God's will or Buddha. Back to Jin and Jerome. So Jin went to take a shower. He must be taking the beauty shower because he took long. Anyway, when he come out of the bathroom, he saw that Jerome was sleeping, but clearly seeing that Jerome is also having a nightmare. What Jerome was dreaming about? He was dreaming about that accident that Jin was in. Clearly, we don't know how he got into an accident, but he was, yeah. And anyways, Jin tried to wake up Jerome, and he woke up and hugged Jerome. Jerome hugged Jin. After that, Jin, who is very concerned, asked Jerome what the problem was, why is he like that. Like I said, Jerome could have had the moment to tell Jin the problem, but Jerome said nothing, it's just a bad dream, and that he will get over it and he's going to bed. Like, dude, there was something. You could have told him, but he didn't, and he ended up went to bed. Like, dude, I don't know. But instead of going to bed, Jane convinced Jerome to go outside so they can just get fresh air and actually talk. Yeah, Jerome did not tell Jane about the dream, but Jin is just not gonna beat around the bush. He told Jerome that how does he feel? Like, does he feel uncomfortable around him, knowing that Jin likes him? And Jerome literally hugged Jin. Clearly, there was no upset. He hugged him and said, don't ask why he's hugging him, because he himself not sure why he's doing this, but also tells Jin that he doesn't hate Jin, but he doesn't like him in a relationship, but he is comfortable with him around. But before Jerome knew about the diary, knew about him, Jin still liking him, he knew somewhere in his feelings, because he explained to Jin that when he had the accident, weird things keep happening, he keeps having weird dreams, and he doesn't explain what the dream about, but he did hug Jin and tell Jin that even though he found out about Jin liking him, he knows that he wants to be around Jin. And although he can't really explain fully what those feelings are, he wants to be around Jin until he found out by himself what these feelings are. And he's clearly gonna tell Jin, because Jin's gonna be the first one to know, because duh. Jin got happy when he heard that, because he said to Jerome that normally he would kick him right now and run and argue and punch him, but he's not doing that. When he said that, I'm like, Jin, that's you accepting the fact that maybe Jerome might like you, because if he didn't, he would have just teased you. He's not doing none of that. He's not running away from the feelings that you shared with him. He's hugging you, telling you that maybe, just maybe, there is more feelings towards it, but it hasn't showed up yet. And that word yet is the reason you're happy right now. Okay, they were having a moment until a phone call ruined the moment. Who was calling? Van. Why is he calling? I'll let you know why he's calling. Give me a minute. Turns out Van is a little bit drunk, and he asked both Jin and Jerome to pick him up, but not to bring him to Farm's place. When Jerome and Jin got there, they noticed that Van has a bruise on his face. There's never a dull moment with this boy Van. Like, dude, if it's not one, it's the other. At this point, I don't know what to say about it. When they got at Jin's apartment, Van was like, let me explain, it's not what you think. Well, actually, it's exactly what they thought. So Jin and Jerome calculated the same thing. The reason Van has a bruise is because of him trying to steal somebody's girlfriend. Apparently, Van said he didn't know that the girl was taken. He was just having fun and drinking with the girl, and next thing you know, someone just pushed and punched and kicked him. Like, dude, if it's not one relationship that you're after, it's the other. Now he's trying to tell them that they shouldn't tell Farm about it because he himself doesn't know how to explain it. He also begged them that he can stay at their apartment, their condo, because he doesn't want to show his face to Farm. Which, how are we going to hide this by the next day? It's not a bruise that can actually, like that. You are not fairy tale or magic to erase it. We don't have Mr. Eraser. Anyways, they're lying down, and Van explained to them that he's texted Farm not to stay up. He can just go to bed because he's not coming in. Then he started noticing that Jin and Jerome are acting strange. They both said that to the Van that if he values relationship or value people's feelings, he should just not hurt people's feelings. But because of how Jerome and Jin said that, it's like strange. Then Van said, what if, and this is hypothetically speaking, that's what he said. What if he and Farm were to agree to be in a relationship? Immediately, Jin just covered Van's mouth. Now, Van is Jin's friend, so Jin knows Van very well to know that he is more of a heartbreaker than a person that can keep a relationship. And the one thing he doesn't want is actually see someone get hurt again by Van. Then Jerome tells Van, because Farm is Jerome's friend, Jerome said it's best that he doesn't start a relationship with Farm, and actually for Van to actually search himself, figure out what he loves, be caring for himself, and before he can even start in a relationship, because the last thing he wants to do is for his best friend to be in love with Van, knowing how Van is a heartbreaker and he knows Farm loves hard. So if Van and Farm were to be in a relationship and Van breaks Farm's heart, it would be devastating. So I agree with them when I say Van needs to love himself and know what it is that he wants to for him to even rush into a relationship, let alone to be in a relationship with someone that actually loves him. No, 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 no. You are a heartbreaker and a bad one at that one. The fact that you've been in a relation, not even him can explain to himself why is it that he has such good relationship and in the end breaks them and put them into pieces that he himself doesn't like. Like, how can you explain that? Is there like a history behind your background or something? Did you go through some trauma, or did your family break up and you're doing this or something? Why are you hurting people? They have feelings too, Van. So we're at the university, and it's the next day, of course. Van, you're such a dumbass. At what point do you think you're gonna hide that bruise? It was never gonna heal the next day. You share the same major as Farm. You think you wouldn't have saw this? Van, you dumb. Anyways, Farm literally expressed itself by saying that, why is it that you hide all this? Why couldn't you come to me and tell me? I could have understand. Instead, you decided to hide and stay somewhere else and not tell me about it. Then Van's like, I didn't want to let you worry or nag all the time. Dude, shut up. Anyways, Farm decided to take Van to the infirmary because apparently Farm thinks it's very major. It's just a scrape. It's nothing to go to emergency room for. After Farm and Van left, Jerome made a statement that got Jin to really wonder, So Jerome said that Farm and Van are acting very strange. Then now both Jerome and Jin looked at Mai because Mai now shows a very expression that he knows something. Now my question is, what is Mai gonna tell them? Tell them that they kissed? Did Van and Farm kiss? Now my question is, I thought Mai mentioned that everyone knows about Farm liking Van, right? So why are they acting strange? Like what? It's got to be about some more information that they don't know. Mai seems to know everything. GMMTV, I'm not going to stop saying it until it actually happened, but JJ and AJ needs a drama and they need to be the main lead. I see it. Maybe it's comedy, maybe it's romance comedy. If it's straight, it's BL. I don't care. Give them something to test the waters. Let me know if it's okay, because unless they don't want it, is it that? Okay, so Farm brought Van to the infirmary, letting him lay down. I don't see the purpose of him laying down. All he had to do is, get a band-aid on the face. Why does he have to lay down? Makes no sense. But, whatever make Farm feel better. Anyways, Farm said he can stay there to rest while he go to class and take notes for Van. Wow, Van out here getting princess treatments. Now, I have so many questions, like the fact that I want to know, when it comes to confession, though, who do you think will confess? Would it be Van or Farm? I have some viewers. The viewers said that they want Van to be the one to confess because Van will probably see Farm in a relationship and he gets jealous and he gets to confess. And I'm like, that would be good. But also, if Farm were to confess to Van, it's got to be something happened and he just finally snaps to finally tell them that he likes him. Or, I don't know, maybe a mistletoe would give it a nudge. I don't know. So we're in class, and while in class, Jerome got a text saying that his car is completely fixed. He even got a picture of how it looks. And he shared that news with Jane, and Jane got excited to see too. But they were so caught up in this happy moment, they didn't realize how close they were until they saw. And then Farmer's like, why are you two guys acting so strange? Like, normally you curse each other or punch each other. And they're like, please, we do that. We still do it. We just don't have time for that. You know what I love about Jin is that Jin loves his mother. You can tell Jin was and is a clingy baby when it comes to his mother. And his mother raised him right. I ain't gonna lie to you, even though she did it all by herself, she did good. Jerome rushed to go see his baby, which he called his car. The repair place that the car went was actually a friend of his father, and they did good for whatever they did. Anyway, they did good, even though technically it's just a new other car. Anyways, he was so excited. He wants to go in the car and, feel the car again. But the mother came out and was like, I mean, it's good looking, it's great, but you can't drive it until the month is over. So this baby of yours is gonna take thus until a month. Technically, you guys can actually drive the car. Is it something in Thailand that because the car is in a certain person's name, you can't drive it? Because here, even if the person's name is in the car, name belongs to the car or whatever, you can still drive it. But then come the baby of them all, Jin. Jin come crying, oh, I'm here, I'm hungry. Like, you can't cook, sir? Anyways, the reason Jin is like this is because his mother left on a trip. He didn't know, well, he knew that his mother was going to go on a trip. He just didn't know when his mother was going on a trip. Anyways, they were eating, enjoying the food, and of course, Jin and Jerome can't stop arguing and bickering. Then Jin looked at Jerome's mother and asked Jerome's mother where his mother went. Jerome's mother looks at Jerome's father, and they were like, she went on a trip with her co-workers. And I'm like, is his mother dating someone right now? Because if so, good for you, girl. Good for you. But if it's not, I don't know why they're not telling him this. Maybe the mother wanted to escape the too much love that the son gives. But anyways, they definitely lied to this boy. So he's in his room looking through his journal, going through the memories and remembering the things that he went through with Jerome. My question is though, is this like a new book? Because the memory you're going back through while reading it goes to high school. Wouldn't it be done and you have a new book, or is this like an old book that you're going through? Because the book is not that thick. So Jerome is with his mother and father, cuddling them up. But the mother is like, I ain't buying it. I know you're trying to nice me up just to get the car, but you're not getting the car. Anyways, the father looked at Jerome and started talking about Jin and say that even though that Jin and Jerome argue all the time and bicker all the time, for some reason things are different now. See, even the parents can see the difference in between Jin and Jerome. Jerome said there's nothing like that. There's just that, we don't like each other. Then the father is like, when did this hate start? Jerome can't answer that because from as much as they know each other, it's been like that. So when has it started? There's never a dull moment with them being a competitor friend, right? They love to compete with each other because here comes Jerome shouting across from their house to ask Jin if he wants to bike race. Do you guys not have each other's phone number? Why couldn't you just call him and like, hey, do you want a bike ride? Why do you do this? Is this much fun? Meanwhile, back at Farm's condo, we see Van trying to pack up to get himself ready to sneak into the university to finish up some project that he did not get to finish. And what you expect about Farm? Farm is definitely gonna go with him. The man loves the boy. He's definitely going with the boy. I was rattling in my brain, bursting my brain, trying to figure out who does this boy resembles. You know that drama? I can't remember the name of the drama, but it has to do with a rich boy who hires a deaf caretaker because he was in an accident and he was in a wheelchair. And the bodyguard, sexy ass man, was literally he was a bodyguard, and then a thief became his boyfriend. But that's the point. Besides the point, this guy looks like that deaf guy that the guy was not, the actor is not deaf, but he played a deaf guy, deaf caretaker who takes care of the rich guy. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments. It's something about see you again or until I don't remember, but the guy was rich. And I believe the guy, had a cousin. He played in that drama where, was it Kisake? Was it Kisake? With he played as a guy with a background where his best friend that went to jail for something he didn't do, for some mafia thing, and then turns out when he found out that his best friend had sex with him, the whole time he thought he was in love with the other guy, but when he went to jail for so many years because of the other guy that went to jail because of something he didn't do, turns out he went there to protect him, only to find out that that guy got hit in the head while he was in prison. Now he can't become a doctor anymore or something like that. If you know what I'm talking about, you know the drama that I'm talking about. Oh, the reason he's using his phone light is because they can't turn on the classroom light because the security might catch them. I don't know how they end up in the school, let alone find out that the room that they went to is open, but whatever. They got in and they're trying to do the project. And I mean, Van is like, why don't you try to do your project? Farm's like, I done my project a long time ago. You're just the only one that's slacking off. Then these two competing by racing by a bicycle. If it's not a car, it's a bicycle. I'm telling you, I want to know, what was their first competition? Like, what was it that they say, okay, we're gonna compete against each other for eternity? What was their first competition to compete in? I'm gonna tell you, see, you're very skilled to be riding with one hand. I can't. Well, then again, I can't ride overall, so I can't say if I can. I tried riding with one hand when I used to ride a bike, but I can't do it anymore. But still, skilled. They have a free life to be going out the house and riding their bike all the way to a park, far away from home. Anyways, things got intense, and then Jerome finally started talking about the book, which Jean's like, I thought we are gonna forget about this. But Jerome finally understands that he wants to talk about this. He wants to address this situation head on. So yes, it's not about riding the bike. It was more like to get Jean out the house so they can talk. Jerome even mentioned to Jean that he never hated Jean. Even though they argue all the time and bicker a lot, Jerome said he never hated Jean. Jean tried to escape the awkward situation, but Jerome held him and said, basically letting him know, let's be mature about this and address this, because if we don't, we're going to continue doing this until it's basically not solved. Back at Van and Farm, and Van noticed that Farm is sleeping, considering the phone light keeps going down. Anyways, Van looked at Farm very romantically, and he kind of confessed, I wish this boy was awake and heard it, but maybe he did and he pretended. Anyways, Van kind of said that, what is being good boy? I wonder if I can be a good boy for you. And then Farm woke up. I'm like, did you hear what he said or not? Apparently he just walked it off. I pray this boy heard and pretend he didn't. Okay, so they decided to leave. Before you asked, Van did not complete his assignment. He said he's going to do it tomorrow because he is tired. Anyways, Farm was about to go to the normal exit where everyone takes, but if they had gone that way, they would have got caught by the security. Van grabbed them because the security was literally there and reminded them that they did not walk that way, they walked the other door. That's the door that they're going back through. The conversation did not go as how Jerome planned, because once he told Jin that he never hated him, Jin thought that the reason he's saying that is because he found out that Jin likes Jerome. Jerome thinks that it's the perfect time to actually make fun of him and pull a prank, which clearly that is not what Jerome is doing. Jin tried to get up and leave, but Jerome pinned him down. I feel like everywhere they go and everything they say has already happened in Jerome's dream. Yet I still can't explain that science. Jin tried to tell Jerome to forget about the book and what was written in the book, and Jerome's like, no, he's not going to forget about the book because it was that time, or the book definitely brings out or let him realize what his feeling is about Jin. Then he kissed Jin. because in the future or whatever universe they kissed. So Jerome just went with the flow. Jin did not push them away, though. They didn't push them away. And that was the end of episode 4. I can't wait for episode 5 because I want to know what happened after that kiss.